Well, hello, and welcome to the Wake Up Greatness Show. I am your host, Colette Hope, the Greatness Coach, and founder of Grow Into Your Greatness. And I'm on a mission to help shake you up and wake you up to the greatness that I know is lying dormant within you. So today, we're going to be discovering what can a tea bag teach us about our greatness and the potential that is within us. So if I want to make a glass of ice cold iced tea, then you would think that I would start with a glass of ice cold water. And so that's what I have right here is a glass of ice cold water. And I have a tea bag. And this tea bag has something in it that I want to get out. It's full of flavor. And so I'm going to take my tea bag and submerge it into this very ice cold glass of water, and let's see what happens. Not much is happening right now. It's just kind of laying on top. Okay. Now over here, I have the same type of tea bag, but over here I have a very, I can barely even hold that, a very hot glass of water. So I'm going to take this tea bag and place it in here. And let's see what begins to happen. Oh, some good stuff starting to happen. Oh, wow. Now all of a sudden, that flavor and that goodness and that greatness on the inside of it is beginning to be released. Nothing is going on over here. But a whole lot of stuff is going on over here. So what's the difference? It's the same tea bag, but it's a different environment. Over here, I have a cold environment, and over here, I have a hot environment. So what is it about the hot water that gets the flavor to begin releasing versus the cold water? Well, I'm not a scientist, but I believe that there are particles in here that are speeding up when the environment is hot. There's particles that are speeding up, and that then activates the oils and the nutrients and the flavor that's inside of this bag. So all I know is that in this cold environment, nothing is going on, nothing is happening. And so all of its greatness, all of its flavor is still locked up and trapped up and shut up on the inside of this bag. But when I take that same bag and I place it in a hot environment, then it begins to activate. It begins to unleash and release what is on the inside of it. And so it's important to note that the environment matters. The environment matters. And so you have to begin to ask yourself the question, what kind of environment are you in? Because you see, people are like tea bags. We come into this world packed full of potential and possibility, but we have to be placed in the right environment in order to get the best out of us. And so you have to ask yourself, are you in the right environment? Is your environment hot enough? If you're in a cold environment, like this tea bag over here in this ice cold glass of water, what did I get here? This is just going to produce me, at most, a very bland cup of tea. Really, I don't see any flavor coming up out of here. But if it is, at most it's just going to present me a very bland cup of tea. But all of its flavor and its greatness is locked up and trapped up on the inside of it. And if I try to hand this to someone and present this tea to them, this very bland cup of tea, they're going to hand it right back to me, or they're going to politely take it, but behind my back, spit it out. And so you have to ask yourself the question, when you're handed to other people, when you're presented to other people, are you presenting them your greatness? Or is it a bland cup of tea that nobody wants to taste and nobody is yearning for and nobody has a desire for? What is it going to take to pull out the greatness in you? What is it going to take for you to share your greatness with the world? See, this tea bag right here, it's not fulfilling its potential. It's not fulfilling its purpose. It's not serving anybody right now, right? It's unfulfilled potential. It's unrealized potential that's locked up and trapped up on the inside of it. But this tea bag over here is going to deliver up, right? A very flavorful cup of tea that people are going to be able to taste. So it's doing its job over here. You're not serving anybody by holding on to your greatness. Nobody's being helped. Nobody's being served by you holding on to what God put in you. He put it in you, but it's not only for you, it's for you to share with the world. And so what is your flavor? What is the greatness that is locked up and trapped up on the inside of you? And how do you begin to get it out? And so we know that over here that it is the hot environment that begins to pull it out. The hot environment. And so you have to ask yourself the question, how do you place yourself? You have to be intentional, right? If you want to maximize your full potential, you have to be intentional about placing yourself in the right environment, in a hot environment. Are you surrounded by people who are on fire to pursue their purpose, who are on fire for their calling? Or are you just in a complacent place, a comfortable place in this cold water? Are you in an environment that is hot and on fire and is full of passion that energizes you and ignites a spiritual spark in you? And it is an environment that is conducive to pulling out of you what God put in you for the world. And so that's what you have to be very intentional about. And the other point that I want to make is sometimes we don't put ourselves in the hot environment, right? That's one way to put yourself in a hot environment that's full of passion and energy that's going to inspire you and energize you. But there's another way. There's another form of a hot environment that you can get placed into. And this is the type of environment that we don't really like, right? This is when I'm talking about when things get hot in your life, when you get in a hot situation, when you get into hot trouble, when there's trials and trouble and tribulations that come up on you. And oftentimes that we're praying for God to get us out of these hot water situations. But what we don't realize is that sometimes God allows. Sometimes he allows. Right? There's always this question of why does a great God, why does a good God allow such bad things to happen to good people? And when we really don't understand, but what I do understand is that Paul said, I thank God for the trials and tribulations because they work in a perseverance in me. And Romans 8:28 says all things are going to work out for the good of those who are called according to his purposes. And so although he allowed those bad things to happen to you, he's going to allow it to work out for your good. So don't think about why are these bad things happening to you. Instead, shift your mindset and say, God allowed these bad things to happen for me. He allowed me to be put up under this pressure. He allowed me to get in this hot water situation. Sometimes God is going to allow you to be placed in a hot environment and pressure to be placed up on you because he's pressing up out of you what is on the inside of you. That situation that you've been through, whether it's been whatever hot mess you've been through, whether your marriage was a hot mess and you've been through a divorce, or whether your finances were a hot mess, or whether your health was a hot mess, whatever hot water situation that you've been through, God is going to work it for your good. And so he's going to use it to grow you to greatness. When I think about Joseph, I think about somebody who was in a hot water situation. But he understood that God used that situation for his good. And so when his brothers came to him and they approached him after they had put him in a pit and left him for dead, and when he saw them years later, and now he was in the position that he had already dreamed and envisioned that he would be in, they thought he was going to kill them because he had the authority to do so. And logic would say that he would do so. But he said, you know what? I'm not even mad at you. Because what you meant for my bad, God used that very thing for my good. And so he understood that the hot water situation that he was in and the pressure that he was under, it was used to grow him to greatness. And so count it all, like Paul said, count it all as joy, count it all as good, and understand that it's all being used for your benefit, and it's all to help you unleash your greatness. And so I just want you to always just be positioning yourself and make sure that you're placing yourself in the right environment, in a hot environment, so that you can begin to release and unleash the greatness that's locked up and trapped up and shut up on the inside of you. And so that's your wake-up call for today. Position yourself in a place that is going to light you on fire and inspire you and energize you to unleash your greatness so you can share it with the world. So until next time, I want you to know that I believe in you. I know that greatness is within you, and I'm expecting great things from you. And I can't wait until all of the great things begin to manifest itself through you. I want you, if you enjoyed this show, and if it inspired you, don't keep it to yourself. Like it, subscribe to my channel, and then join the movement and share it with other women so we can together wake up the greatness that is lying dormant in women all around the world. Thank you, and I'll see you at the next show.